Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable silence feels? How quickly we reach for our phones, for noise, for motion, anything that reminds us we're still doing something. We've been taught that movement means meaning, that stillness means loss, that if we're not chasing, we're falling behind, that if we're not speaking, we're being forgotten. But what if it's the opposite? What if everything you've been searching for, the clarity, the calm, the sense of direction, has been waiting for you, not in the noise, but in the pause between it? Because there's a language that doesn't use words, a form of strength that doesn't show itself through motion. And the few who learn to hear it, they move through life differently. Stillness isn't inaction. It's not laziness. It's alignment. It's the space where truth finally gets a chance to speak. We live in a world addicted to doing. We measure our worth by how much we produce, how busy we stay, how constantly reachable we are. We scroll, we react, we reply, even when our soul is whispering, stop. There's a kind of panic that rises in silence. You felt it, that quiet restlessness that says, you should be doing something. That feeling isn't hunger for progress. It's fear of being with yourself. Because when the noise fades, you meet everything you've been running from. The thoughts you drowned in distraction, the emotions you labeled as weakness, the truth about what you want and what you no longer do. Stillness is not the absence of life. It's the mirror of it. And most people can't look for long. There's a verse written deep into the design of existence. Nothing real is rushed. The sun rises in silence. The moon takes its time crossing the sky. Even rain falls quietly before it nourishes the earth. Everything meaningful grows in stillness. So why do we think our lives should move any faster? Because the world rewards the loud. It claps for the visible. It celebrates motion, even if that motion leads nowhere. But truth, real, lasting truth, only appears when you stop chasing it. It's revealed, not achieved. You don't grab it, you grow into it. When Allah wants to show you something, He slows you down. He removes the noise, the plans, the people, not as punishment, but as protection. Because sometimes the things that kept you busy were also keeping you blind. You prayed for peace, and then everything went quiet. You asked for clarity, and then everything fell apart. You thought you were being abandoned, but you were being prepared. Because silence is where Allah recalibrates the heart. Stillness is where you stop hearing yourself and start hearing Him. Most people don't recognize divine stillness because it doesn't feel the way we expect. It feels like pause, like loss, like confusion. But in reality, it's order, sacred, unseen order. You might be thinking, how can I stay still when everything is moving around me? The answer is simple. Stillness doesn't mean sitting motionless. It means being unmoved inside while the world moves outside. It's the difference between reacting and responding, between chasing and aligning. It's what happens when your inner world no longer dances to the tune of chaos. Have you ever noticed how the calmest people in the room often carry the most strength? They don't rush to speak because they've learned that silence carries more authority than noise. They don't explain themselves because truth doesn't argue. They don't chase attention because attention comes naturally to peace. Their stillness unsettles the restless. Because when someone can't be shaken, they remind others of everything that is. That's the power of presence. Not the kind that demands to be seen, but the kind that doesn't need to be. There's a secret here. Most of what you're trying to fix doesn't need your interference. It needs your patience. You think you're helping by holding tighter, by explaining more, by doing something. But you're only feeding the chaos you want to calm. Sometimes the most powerful action is no action, trusting the process instead of controlling it. Stillness isn't resistance, it's surrender. It's saying, I've done what I can. Now I let go. And in that letting go, Everything that's not meant for you begins to fall away. Stillness exposes what's real. When you stop running, the truth catches up. You start to see who actually values your presence and who only valued your participation. You notice which relationships drain you when you're quiet, which rooms feel heavier after you enter them, which conversations pull energy instead of returning it. Stillness makes invisible transactions visible. You start to see where your peace goes and who deserves to receive it. The prophet often withdrew into silence, not to escape people, but to return to Allah. His stillness wasn't distance, it was devotion. He showed us that presence with Allah requires absence from noise. You cannot listen to divine guidance if your mind is constantly filled with the opinions of the world. You cannot feel what's real if you never pause long enough to notice what isn't. That's why silence is not empty, it's full of answers. But you can only hear them when you stop interrupting them with your noise. Stillness teaches discernment. You begin to understand what deserves a response and what doesn't. You stop explaining to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop fighting for attention that was never meant to see you. You stop chasing outcomes that were never written for you. Because peace is not something you find. It's what remains when you stop losing yourself to noise. There's a line you cross quietly, the moment you no longer need to prove anything. You don't chase closure. You don't over-explain. You don't justify your silence. You simply exist in the calm of knowing that what's yours will never need to be forced. That's when stillness becomes your strength. You become unshakable, and people start to feel it, not through your words, but through your presence. Most of us are afraid of stillness because it feels like death to the ego. It's the moment you stop performing, stop defending, stop trying to control how others see you. It's the moment your identity shifts from being seen to being real. But here's the truth. What dies in stillness is what was never alive to begin with. The noise, the roles, the constant need to prove, all of that dissolves. And in the quiet, you finally meet yourself. You realize that peace isn't somewhere you go. It's something you uncover, layer by layer, beneath everything false. You might lose people in that process. Stillness will separate you from those who only understand chaos. They'll call you distant, changed, cold, but they're only describing the silence they can't sit with. When your frequency shifts, the noise can't find you anymore. And that's how you know the healing has begun. Stillness is not the absence of connection. It's the filter that reveals which connections were true. Every storm eventually runs out of energy. Every voice fades. Every wave settles. And what remains after all the motion is truth. That's where Allah meets you, in the center of stillness. When you finally stop running, stop forcing, stop explaining, you'll feel a peace that doesn't need validation. It's not excitement. It's not euphoria. It's calm, steady, grounding, sacred calm. That's what you were always looking for. Not more noise, not more movement, just stillness that feels like home. The world will tell you that silence is weakness, that if you don't speak, you'll be forgotten. But Allah doesn't forget what is silent. He elevates it. The trees don't shout, but they grow. The moon doesn't argue with the darkness, but it shines through it. Water doesn't fight the stone, but over time, it shapes it. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet certainty that what's meant for you will find you. No performance required. There's a moment in every soul's journey when movement becomes noise. When you realize that your constant doing was just a distraction from being. When silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling safe. That's when you found it. The threshold between effort and trust. You stop chasing what's already written. You stop fearing what's already yours. And you start living in alignment, not resistance. The world will still spin. People will still rush. Noise will still try to find you. But once you've tasted the peace that comes from stillness, you'll never crave noise again. You'll speak less and mean more. You'll do less and achieve more. You'll appear still, but inside, you'll be moving in ways the world can't measure. Because stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's the movement only Allah can see. And that's the secret. When stillness speaks louder than action, you finally stopped living by the world's rhythm and started living by His. You don't need to move faster. You just need to move deeper.